A dwindling personal savings rate is increasing financial stress. Ooh, that sounds scary. And if it's scary, that means everyone's going to click on it. Wow, well, tell me about financial stress. This is from the boys at the Tax Foundation, who I love, but this is one where they just swung and missed. They had a good shot at a good solid double at Fenway Park, and they just said, "Oh, swung and missed." All right, so let's go into this here, my friends. November 9th, 2023, these guys right here, dwindling savings and increasing financial stress highlights the need for tax reforms. Okay. Since 2022, the personal savings rate in America has fallen significantly. All right. Personal savings rate spiked at 32% during the pandemic as people were encouraged to shelter in place and aid was provided. Okay. But then it's fallen steadily since. Savings rapidly fell as consumers ramped up their spending and beginning unwinding their cash buffers. Okay. The personal savings rate currently stands at 3.4% and is 2.2% below the average from 2015 and 19. And compared to other developed countries, the U.S. is an outlier. It is the only country to have a savings rate fall before the pre-pandemic average. Oh my goodness, what are we going to do? That's 2023, and that's 2015. Just They do talk about how some evidence in personal spending has led to GDP growth, and 100%, man. And we know personal consumption expenditures are about 70% of GDP. That's just a fact. They're going to reduce Social Security. That reduces personal consumption expenditures, which puts us in a depression. It's not going to happen. I cannot stress this stuff. Personal consumption expenditures are about 70% of total GDP. If Social Security is reduced by 20% or 30%, what does that do? There's 66 million people on social. That reduces personal consumption expenditures, which does what to GDP? It puts it in a free fall a la Japan or even the 1930s in the United States. It's not going to happen. All right. But here, check this out. Right here. The latest release by the Federal Reserve Survey of Consumer Finance, and that's the better one, certainly better than the Census Bureau CPS Current Population Survey. But I found this as interesting. The SCF finds that median households had 8,000 across their savings and checking accounts from 2019 to 2022. The median household had 8,000 across their savings and checking accounts from 2019 to 2022, which is an increase of 2,000 compared to the previous year. Wait a second. We were told most Americans don't have $400, don't have two nickels to rub together. Of course, I've debunked that silliness. The median means half the people have more, half the people have less, which means inherently half the people have more than $8,000. Half the people have less, but we were told like 74% of people can't rub two nickels together. Okay, that's kind of weird. The Survey for Consumer Finances. And then even if we take out the COVID crap, they still had, the median household had $6,000 of savings and checking accounts. That's kind of weird. Similar data from Bank of America suggests that monthly median household savings remain about 40% higher in nominal terms than they did in 2019. Okay, so that just still tells you that 2019, while it's lower than it is now, it still wasn't $400 that they couldn't find together. So what's that about? Let's keep. A Federal Reserve analysis shows that excess savings from the pandemic will likely be depleted by the end of the Q 2023. We're already done with the Q 2023, by the way. And as of June, only 190 of the 2.1 trillion remains. So let me ask you a question about inflation, because I was doing a live stream the other day, guys. So the reason we have inflation is all the money that was put into people's checking accounts. Okay. So that money is now depleted. So what does that mean? Crashing dollar, long-term inflation. Okay, so if the inflation was caused by the spending, and now spending is behind us because all that money has been depleted now, does that inherently mean disinflation? You can't, dude, you have to make up your mind. What causes inflation? You have to. Because, again, my argument is such that energy prices cause inflation because energy prices lead to scarcity. Scarcity is what causes inflation everywhere and every time. Socialism always leads to inflation because it creates scarcity, 100%. Energy cost, because Bo Jiden wants that green crap, and it's freaking most moronic thing I've ever heard in my life. But be that as it may, hold on just a second. Now I forgot where I left off because my two boys out there came down. Kevin thinks he can beat me in a fight one day. That's the funniest thing I ever heard. I told my boys, you guys need to fight for my love. Anyway, so I forgot where I left off. So let's keep going. Oh, we talked about inflation, consumer spending. They thought that was going to lead inflation. So if consumers of the population of people's checking accounts increase because of the government's largesse, that would increase inflation. Well, now that's gone. So how can we still have inflation? I mean, come on. And then people will say, well, too much money printing too few goods, chasing too few goods. Okay, well, we've had too much money chasing too few goods for freaking decades upon decades now. Where's the mass Weimar Republic style inflation? It just isn't there. It's just silly. Come on. It's all about energy. All right. Let's see. Americans, I want to go, hold on a second. Americans are also increasingly relying on credit cards and other forms of debt to bridge the gap in finances. Well, as I said when I debunked that Americans don't have two nickels to rub together, I rely on my credit card and then I pay it off. That's what I do. I get my credit card and I pay it off. But check this out. The Federal Reserve found that the portion of Americans who have emergency savings to cover at least 3 months' expenses dropped from 59% in 2021 to 54% in 2022. What? 54% of Americans had enough to cover 3 months of emergency savings? What happened that we couldn't rub two nickels together for $400? What was that about? And you can't sit there and say, oh, it's just because the pandemic, stimulus and stuff, because I already told you, we went back here and we said that we had $8,000 was the median, wherever it is, the median money that people had in their checking and savings accounts was $8,000. Would that cover 3 months of savings? I don't know. But it certainly cover for you to fix your air conditioning unit. That's a doggone fact. Why don't people talk about that? Oh boy, and then they're going to refer to the Americans have a middling amount of retirement security compared to other developed nations. I already debunked that from Wall Street Journal. You can see the link to the Wall Street Journal article, and that was just so stupid. It's just like the media, what they do is they write a stupid article, and then it gets regurgitated from other people linking to that article as if it's sacrosanct. It's so freaking stupid, man. Tax foundations should be better than that, but then they stand right here. The lack of American savings means the U.S. relies on foreign investment. Our net international investment position stands at negative 18 trillion, meaning that foreigners own 18 trillion more of American assets than Americans own of foreign assets. That's a bad thing. Well, we don't want China buying up our property. Okay, we can stop that, but foreigners own our assets. Our bonds, our stocks. Yeah, real estate is a challenge, I grant you. Why? Because it's the best game in town. The money flows to where it's treated best. This is a good thing. We don't want Americans to be in a positive of net investment, whatever it is, the NIIP, which I never heard that before, but whatever. What are you talking about, tax foundation? That would be our money going overseas. We keep our money here because America is the best. We crush. Everyone else is slush. That's all there is to it. USA in your face, Canada. Canada's like, I wish I could be American. You can't, dude. No, you can't. America's in our blood. It's in our blood how we're born. We're born free. A rifle behind every freaking blade of grass. A bunch of beef that we can eat. And freaking, even though we got Bo Jiden, he'll be gone soon enough. Because we still kick ass and take names, Canada. You only wish you could be America. Take that. Blame Canada. All right, so let's see here. Tax policy plays a big role in increasing savings. It's just so stupid. Because right here, I want to show you something. The federal tax code generally discourages savings. Why? Because the income tax is applied to the wages you receive to put the money in savings, and again on the return of wages that are saved. Oh, these people even hear themselves talk. You pay tax on the money you get to save, and then you pay tax on the earnings you get on that savings. All right, so the tax code discourages that because they're going to say, by contrast, there's no additional tax on wages that are consumed rather than saved. There's no additional tax on consumption rather than savings. Has anyone ever heard of the tax foundation of a sales tax? I'm just throwing it out there. Consumption tax. It's a sales tax, dude. Come on. That's just freaking stupid. There are additional taxes on consumption. Sometimes it's much higher than it is on savings. To make up, the tax code contains a patchwork of preferences for savings or whatever. So they would just say we should have a universal savings account. That'll help more people save. All right. That's just stupid. So everyone has a universal savings account. It's called a brokerage account. Every single person can open a brokerage account in 2 seconds flat. It's no big deal. They don't because everyone is their cash flow is limited because they're in so much debt. So much debt. And so once we pay off debt, they can open a brokerage account. But the critical thing is not to have another account to open. It's to freaking focus on making sure people don't go into debt to begin with. We can have all the freaking options in the world for people to save money. If they're spending money by taking debts or buying sleeve tattoos, updating their cell phones, changing out their cars, freaking drinking Guinness, going to Starbucks every day, they're never going to have enough to save because they have all this debt. Just come on, man. Focus on the evil that is the debt. The freaking fractional currency. Oh my goodness, fractional banking. That's where the problem is. Focus on the lack of a USA, universal savings account. Americans are doing fine once debt is paid off. I talk to people all the freaking time. Pay off your debt, pay off your debt. And I'm a hypocrite. I still got debt. I'm like the cobbler whose kid has no shoes. I tell you guys what to do, and half the time I don't do it myself. But be it as it may, I know what works because I deal with people every single day. 2 today, same story for both of them. No debt, no debt, no debt. It's always the same thing. All right, love your thoughts. Don't forget, we're going to go live on Locals here at, 5:29 right at 8. That'll be 2 hours and 40 minutes. If you want to comment and join, it's $5 a month. Support me on Locals right there. Every week we go live. I can't go live tomorrow because I'm taking Chloe down to Atlanta to see a band called Telekinetic Yeti. We're going to see those guys play, and we're going to be freaking banging our heads. Bang your head! It's going to be a good time. So we'll do it live tonight. Let's do it live. Do it live. All right. But if you want to join on board, sign the Locals, doobly-dook, $5 a month, and you got full access. All right, we'll see you.